But I want to leave you off with a small story, as I like to do, about probably the most beautiful experience I had doing Jeet Kune Do. So I, up until literally like a week ago, was terrified of sparring to a point where anytime I had to spar, I was on the verge of tears, like 100% about to cry. And it wasn't because I was afraid of getting hurt necessarily. I was just so afraid of hurting anybody else, because the stories and the narratives that I carried about myself said, you are not that guy. You're never supposed to be that guy. You're not going to be that person. And you're not allowed to be that person. It always came back to, you're not allowed to fight for yourself. You're not allowed to raise your fist. You're not allowed to speak up for yourself or anyone else, because that was the emotional conditioning that I was raised on, frankly. Well, one day I was sparring, and mind you, this wasn't the thing that alleviated the fear, but it put me on the path of actually conquering it, which took another 1.5 years to do, frankly. But about 2 years ago, I was in the middle of sparring, and I was struggling with it. I had only done it maybe like, 5 or 6 times before that. And I was going against a group of people that sparred very hard. Like, they didn't really pull their punches at all. They were going like, 80% strength. And it was very difficult on me, because I was taking hard punches in the head and hits to the rib and everything. And it was nerve-wracking. And I'm somebody who I'm very soft-hearted. I'm not a soft person exactly, but I'm the kind of person that would prefer, I prefer to be kinder and softer with everyone and everything, because that's just the kind of person I am. I'm not somebody that's going in causing fights, or I'm not the tough guy dude in the club. Or like in the classroom. I'm the dude drawing in the back of the class, literally. So I'm in the middle of this sparring match, and
I'm the one going, Sifu, don't you mean there's 5 ways of attacks? You said 4. I don't mean to talk out of turn. I just want to make sure that I have this right.
You're sitting in the front of the class.
I'm taking mental notes.
So I'm in the middle of sparring, and I remember this exact moment.
The 2 genders of Jeet Kune Do, front of the class and back of the class, but we're both going, yes, I see. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm in the middle of sparring. I'm doing my best against this guy. He's about the same size as me, and I'm like a little bit over 6 feet tall. I'm a pretty big dude. This guy was about my same size, but he was more experienced, and he was much more comfortable with letting his hands just fly. Well, I put my hands down about 1/2 inch for about 2 seconds. 1/2 inch.
Of course you did.
2 seconds. This man rocked me. So this man punched me in the mouth so hard that I fell on my back, and my top lip was ripped open completely. And I mean, like, I was wearing, and for those of you thinking, why were you using protect? I had headgear on. I had a mouth guard in. It didn't matter. He hit me that hard, and the mouth guard made contact with the inside of my lip, and the rubber, in spite of not being sharp, completely ripped my lip open. And I was laying on my back. The noise of me hitting the ground was so loud that some of the other people sparring stopped. The guy who hit me, very nice dude, very concerned. He immediately went down to check on me, make sure I was good. The Sifu, who was overseeing the entire sparring session, because it was me and like 2 other people on the floor, because the floor was that big. 2 other groups, I mean. And he came over to see if I was okay, because I didn't get up right away. And everybody was crowding around me. And I remember sitting there, I was laying on my back on the floor, and I was thinking, wow, why isn't this worse? Why isn't this worse? And as I was sitting there, I thought, all of the stories I said about myself, or to myself, when I imagined what would it be like if somebody hit me full force in the face without me trying to defend myself, if I wasn't ready. I never imagined myself being able to deal with it. I'm not saying like I would like, be like some kind of tough guy hulking out type of, no. What was always important to me was that I would self-abandon and crumble, and I wouldn't like allow myself to be, destroyed by the moment or taken advantage of in some way. Like, I would internally crumble. It was the emotions that I was more worried about, not so much the physical injury or anything like that. But that's not what happened. I was laying on the ground, and it occurred to me that I took the hardest punch in my life, and not only am I okay, but I'm far more than okay. There aren't tears rolling down my eyes. I don't have this screaming desire to retreat or surrender or anything like that. The only thing that happened is I got hit harder than I ever did in my life, and I'm okay. And in that moment, all of those horrible stories that I carried on my heart and in my soul, it's like he punched them out of my head. Those stories took more damage than I did. And I thought, wow, so I could just get up and everything will continue to be fine, because I'm strong enough to deal with that too. So I literally just popped up, and I was like, okay, well, let's keep going. But the problem was, one of the other Sifus explained that if you're on the floor and you start bleeding, you have to stop everything you're doing and go wash your face, because the training mats could get you sick. You could get infections. So I asked him, oh, hey, am I bleeding? Which is really how I realized my lip got ripped open, because I didn't know it in the moment. I just felt like the pain. And then I had to stop, and I ran to the bathroom. I took out my mouth guard, and there was just meat and blood just covered in it. And I just looked at it for a second, and I thought about how there was all this psychological space that I had now, because I wasn't carrying those stories anymore. And I thought, I'm not going to leave this bathroom the same version of myself. I'm going to come out of this bathroom kinder, happier, easier to talk to, having an easier time to talk to other people. This is so different. And this is everything that I needed this art to do for me. So it was a wonderful day that day. And yeah, I lost that match. I was on my back. I had my mouth ripped open. My face was swollen for a couple of days. I didn't get any stitches. There was no real reason why I didn't. I just didn't. And I came home. I looked at my kids. Their eyes were brighter to me. I hugged my wife. Like, everything colors were more vibrant. You know, it was this overwhelming kind of kindness that I never had for myself, that I suddenly was capable of generating. Ever since that moment, I've been able to be kind to myself in a way that I couldn't before. And if you understand that, you can understand why Rocco walked into that deadly, dangerous scene the way that he did. And when he got killed, and one of the last things he said to Spike was, "Do you think we could have been friends?" He wasn't thinking about the pain. He was thinking about being kind, because that's what Jeet Kune Do could do for you, even before you even learn how to throw a punch.